With Bitcoin becoming part of the bigger macroeconomic picture, it's no wonder that all eyes are on the Fed today. Today's Fed meeting is extraordinarily important. And typically we look to see if they're going to raise the rates, lower the rates, or keep them the same. But today I'm watching out for one very specific piece of information that a lot of people overlook. So with that, remember, every single day in crypto is an adventure. Today is going to be no different than the others, except today is probably a little bit more important because the Federal Reserve is talking. But if you're not a subscriber, subscribe right now down below. I'd be very, very appreciative. I'm trying to get to 3,000 by the end of this month, and your subscription would really help. So with that, we're going to talk about the Federal Reserve today and what I'm looking for in today's meeting and why it's so important. So if you really want to know what's important to the Fed, you can just go on their homepage of their website. There's their policy rate. They're at 4.25% to 4.5%. Inflation, PCE, right there, 2.5%. As you see, it came up during, in the last couple of years. It's come down significantly. It pushed higher at the end of the year last year. There's a lot of last minute government spending, and government spending, in my mind, equals inflation. So, and then it's starting to come back down. The PCE ratings that we have, or PPI and CPI that came out last week, were all better than expected. That being said, there's some mixed signals. So unemployment rate. Now, unemployment rate has been ticking up ever so slightly, but 4.1% unemployment is still a very strong economy. It's still considered anywhere between like 3 and 5% is still considered full employment. So employment market, job market is still strong, but it is starting to show signs of weakening. Gross domestic product still growing at a 2.3% clip in quarter four. Now, I've heard lots of rumors of the gross domestic product, or the GDP, which is basically the gross receipts. If you added up all the sales in our country of goods and services, that was what gross domestic product is. And so I've heard lots of rumors that it's going to be negative this quarter. So we will see. And so these are the things that the Fed is looking at. And so right now, I don't really see a reason to lower the rates. I know we all want cheaper money, and I don't see a real reason to lower the rates. And while there might not be a real reason to lower the rates right now, there's something even more interesting and more telling that we might see today. And that is the information regarding what they call the dot plot. And the dot plot is basically a forecast from the Federal Open Market Committee and their members to say where they think rates are going to go this year. It's basically a prediction, a guess at this point in time. And during the last meeting, it says right here, this was an article written, it says, as a result, the Fed's dot plot forecast released last month. This is from the December meeting, or January meeting, so that would have been referring to the December meeting. They were predicting just 2 rate cuts in 2025, so a quarter point each across the coming year's 8 meetings. So only 2 they were predicting. So here's the thing, is that right now those are baked into the market. And it's going to be very interesting to see what that dot plot comes out with this afternoon, because it could make a very big difference in what happens to crypto today, and in the short term and the long term. So this is the federal SCME Group's market rate watch, and it's basically a predictor site based on information from a lot of people. They say that what they think is going to happen. So I don't really think many people are thinking the rates are going to come down tomorrow. So there's that. Okay, so pretty much everyone thinks the rate's going to be the same. Now you go into the May meeting, there's more of a chance, about a 17% chance of a drop. June meeting, about a 54% chance of a quarter point drop, but a 9% chance of a half a point drop. You keep going along the year. So as you get to December, there is, 33, 28, 20, a very strong chance of, at minimum of a quarter, maybe 50 to 75 basis points, all the way down to as much as 100 basis point cut by the end of the year. Now, these charts can change drastically given new economic data. So I know right now with Trump trying to force the Fed's hand to lower rates, There's a lot of uncertainty and doubt that's being created in the marketplace. And Bitcoin is coming down with the rest of the crypto market, not quite to the same degree. So it's not quite like you look at gold, the price of gold has been going up. It's at a new all-time high right now. And the price of gold is going up, yet the price of Bitcoin is not going up. So really, it's going to be really hard for Bitcoin to say, hey, we're a digital gold if it doesn't move like gold. And right now, it's not moving like gold. Now, I will tell you, it's retaining its value way better than the majority of the other cryptos. So it's starting to, have some resilience in times like this, because typically when there's what we call a flight to quality, and the flight to quality is if the stock market's tanking and people need a more conservative asset, they go to bonds, or they might go to gold if they're very scared of bonds, they're scared of stocks, and they're very, very uncertain. People usually flight or follow and go to gold. And so right now we see a market that's not running to Bitcoin. It should be. Bitcoin should be that stable asset it's going to, but for some reason it's not. We're in the most bullish times for Bitcoin that we've ever seen for most of crypto. The groundwork's being laid. The SEC's dropping cases left and right. You see a lot of foundational groundwork being laid. The SEC is getting rid of rules. The banking is allowed, the SEC has said that banks are allowed to custody crypto. All these things are happening in this market, yet Bitcoin is still not pumping up. And it makes you wonder, why? Why isn't it pumping up super fast? And there's a quite flight to quality to Bitcoin like there is gold. And I still think, right now it's never been so clear. It's not a question of Bitcoin getting taken out completely like the last couple of years. I was literally worried that Bitcoin could be completely rendered useless by the previous by the previous administration. I was actually worried that they would, make it impossible to get Bitcoin, or very difficult. And with this new administration, it's completely different. It's opened the doors to, the ETFs were Bitcoin got approved last year, but it's opened doors to other ETFs. It's opened, like I said, legislation for foundation for long-term growth of Bitcoin and other stables and other cryptos. So we're in a very bullish time, and it's too bad that, there's all these crazy things going on, but I am still thinking, in my opinion, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor, but I still see Bitcoin going to 120 to 150 this year. I've heard people say 250. Now that's even beyond my comprehension, but these things can happen. When this money, we've talked about M2, and you've heard it on a lot of different YouTube channels probably, and the money supply, as there's more money out there, that there's more disposable money to buy goods and services, that there'll be more people that can invest in Bitcoin. As banks allow or start you to allow custody of crypto with them, it's going to be very easy for someone to say, just slide a little bit of my savings account over to Bitcoin, or to XRP, or to Solana, or one of those other ones. These things are potentially going to happen in the near future. So I am still very bullish, very, very bullish on Bitcoin. And I'm very excited to see what happens with the Fed today. And my eyes will be peeled to that dot plot. And what happens, and how many, is it still only two rate cuts predicted by the end of the year? Is it 3? Is it 4? Is it 0? This is going to make all the difference in the world. So with that, stay tuned at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You watch, you see what happens, and we'll report on it after it does. That's all I got. Hope you enjoyed this little segment, and I'll talk to you again soon.